Hello everyone, my name is Alec and welcome to the second episode of Let's Overanalyze Morrowind. Today, I'll cover and overanalyze a really small detail that most players tend to overlook. Nevertheless, it's a very interesting touch that, once again, shows that developers put an effort in building a world worthy of exploring. For this occasion, we are going to first visit Balmora, definitely one of the most popular cities in Morrowind. It's a seat of House Hlalu, and players here usually spend a significant amount of time. There are lots of shops and guilds, and this place does feel like a home base. With that said, if we take a look around, we might notice that some houses aren't only locked, but also missing the owner. One such place is Vori's home. So where is Vori? Today, we're gonna find out. But first, a quick notice. I'm using a mod that overhauls cities called Beautiful Cities of Morrowind. So Balmora in my game does look different than in vanilla. City is not only expanded, but houses are also rearranged. Here's a map of vanilla Balmora, and Vori's house is right here, under the number 23. The mod I'm using also makes some small interior changes, and if we go inside Vori's house, we will find clues that actually reference our topic. And this is something I discovered only now, while recording for this video. I didn't really expect that, but I have to say that it's a nice touch by the mod author. I will return to these clues at the end of this video. However, going further, I'm going to analyze the game in its pure vanilla form, and I will ignore all the changes made by the mods. So, Vori is missing, and in vanilla game, this book and a letter found under the bed do not exist. Everything else is the same except for these two items that are added by a mod, and they do kinda help a player to discover where to find Vori, as well as explaining what's going on with her. However, in the base game, it is more challenging to explain Vori's story, since we are left with no clue. Also, I believe this kind of mysteries or little details, however you want to call them, were more enigmatic back in early 2000s when there were no online guides and videos showcasing them. I remember getting lost so often in Morrowind, and this was really a part of game's experience, figuring out things on your own. And one way I learned about games world was by reading books. I absolutely loved collecting and reading them. It was a great way to learn about lore. This was something I haven't experienced before in any other game, and it was fascinating to see all these books thrown around for us to read. And again, a certain book is essential in explaining our little mystery. So going back to our topic, Vori can be actually found all the way in Sadrit Mora. Specifically, she is listed as being in the Wolverine Hall, standing just outside. I believe many players encounter her, not really realizing that she's the one owning a home in Balmora, since we are so used finding NPCs more or less within or near their homes. So most players will just walk by and kinda ignore this rather average NPC that doesn't seem to offer anything to them. And to be honest, that may be true. Vori doesn't have any specific dialogue that would explain what is she doing so far from home. She just mysteriously stands there, and only thing we can find out from her is that she's an acrobat. So let's take a look at the in-game description of acrobats. Acrobat is a polite euphemism for agile burglars and second-story men. These thieves avoid detection by stealth and rely on mobility and cunning to avoid capture. In short, acrobats are closely tied to thieves, at least in this game, but that still doesn't explain why it's Vori in Sadrit Mora / Wolverine Hall. A clue that might explain what's going on can be found in the book Realizations of Acrobacy. It simply talks about the Telvanni leader of Sadrit Mora having an interest in acrobats. That Telvanni leader is of course Master Nelot, found in Tel Naga Tower. The story is quite interesting, and as with many other in-game books, it actually ties directly into the game. This is also something I realized much later, that many in-game books don't talk about some distant past, but are actually describing current events. They are either authored by an actual NPC or mention a person or location that can be found in-game. In Realizations of Acrobacy, we read that Telvanni masters Nelot and Gotrin have literally an ongoing war, and that they both occasionally host acrobatic troops for entertainment. We find out that a certain troop led by a Redguard, Senindi, recently visited Master Nelot and stole famous Mehrunes razor from him. Because these traveling troops, as it turns out, are nothing more than thieves who, posing as acrobats, entertainers, and whatnot, actually rob wealthy lords across Tamriel. It's such a wonderful little bit of world building that makes the Wardenfell more dynamic, and I also find it funny that we can read this information in a book not long after it happened. Book mentions several named acrobats, and Senindi, same one that stole Mehrunes' razor from Nelot, can actually be found in game, currently residing in fighters' quarters of the Arena Canton in Vivec. So after learning this, seeing Vori, who is also an acrobat, wandering through Sadrit Mora makes so much more sense, as it seems that Vori is also visiting Sadrit Mora as an entertainer. She may or may not be a part of Senindi's troupe. In the end, I just want to mention that in the mod that I'm using, book on Vori's bed is Realizations of Acrobacy. I guess mod author wanted to make this detective work much easier to newer players. And the letter under the bed is also interesting because it's sent by a guy called Fundus, who is a member of Thieves Guild. Now, Thieves Guild is present in Wolverine Hall, specifically in Dirty Muriel's Corner Club, and I think that mod author is trying to suggest that Vori is attempting to join Thieves Guild. I am not so sure about that, but it could make sense, especially after everything we discovered. Vori and Senindi are not members of the Thieves Guild, but as fellow thieves, they could be working with them. Anyways, as I said, this piece of information is added by a mod and is not in original game, so it doesn't really matter. In any case, this was a story about Vori, a Nord female acrobat who owns a house in Balmora, yet is found in game far away in Sadrit Mora, seemingly without explanation. Yet, through some detective work and book reading, player can find out that she is entertaining local Telvanni lords, quite possibly as a member of a traveling acrobatic troupe. Hope you guys enjoyed this little Morrowind analysis. Thank you for watching and I see you soon.